Okay, let me just put everything into full screen, and I think we should be live. Okay, hi everyone, welcome to the March Q&A live stream. I've got a full squad with me today, but first of all, you gotta let me know, guys, whether you can see us and hear us clearly. I guess you guys say hello or something like that to ensure that everyone can hear you as well, but it should be fine, I think.
Hello. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Hello.
Yeah, so I think everything looks good. So we've got four people today. Never been more than that. Maybe next year we'll have 10 on the live stream or something. So we've got Tim and John as usual, and we've got Will today as well with us, who's our can I just say, like, in-house journalist, I guess? No, you're not entirely an in-house journalist because you do journalism externally, but you help us with corrections and things like that, Will. Is that right?
I suppose, you're right. But in-house journalist covers it fairly well. I'm in-house, but I'm occasionally out-house too. So that's...
So...
It feels like we could do whatever we want with job titles at the moment if we follow kind of Elon Musk's direct... What was it, like Techno King and Master of Coin? So you could be Guru of Car.
Guru of Car, yeah. I'll happily go with that. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah. So I hope you guys are doing well today. It's Thursday. I wish it was Friday, but unfortunately it's Thursday. But should be fine. So we've got, as usual, a bunch of questions we've received on everywhere really, from Katie Play to social media to our brand new Discord channel. So that's quite exciting. And I think on Katie Play there were over 200 questions. And I just want to say we pick 5, and 5 winners get a carbon fiber pack. But it doesn't mean that if your question wasn't chosen, it doesn't mean that it's bad or it's something like that. It's just that we tend to choose questions that we can actually answer. And there's a small reservation in the sense that when I read Katie Play and Fred with all the questions, there are so many good questions in there, but not all of them I can answer. So, for example, things that we talk about, I don't know, like trophies, we can obviously go here to the live stream and, bring it up and give you a carbon fiber pack, but there has to be discussion done within the team and about things like that. So we can bring it to the live stream and talk about it, but whether there will be any results, that's a completely different thing. So it doesn't really depend on the live stream. So what I'm trying to say is that you should keep submitting those questions, but I apologize if we do not answer, if we do not choose them every time. So we tend to choose to focus specifically on the questions that are kind of starting the discussion, something that we haven't heard before. So yeah, we'll see a few of those today, but as usual we already have 5 winners, so we'll be reading them out. And then everyone will have an opportunity to answer those. And then don't forget that you can still submit all your questions to the chat in this live stream. And some of us will pick that up probably and answer it as well. So hi everyone who just joined. Welcome to the live stream. And I'm very happy to see you. So, and yeah, before we even start, probably a quick update on what's going on with our upcoming updates. So as you know, we have this new challenges update planned for the foreseeable future, and we've been talking about releasing it somewhere end of February, beginning of March, but we're on the 18th of March today. To give you a quick update, we've actually done a pretty extensive team test today, so it looks good, and to be honest, it's pretty massive. The changes are big. So if you play it, these new challenge suite, you will see that there's a lot of stuff in there, and you will just have to eventually play it and see what it is, because there are a lot of changes. It's almost nothing as the old challenges screen that we used to have. There's a lot about it, but I think we should have an opportunity to maybe briefly talk about it today, a little bit later. So. But just to give you a quick update, it's still in the works. Did a team test today. Obviously, we found some issues here and there, but none of them are sort of game breaking. So that's all good. And then for the ETA, I would still say a week, 2. Not going to give any specific details. It's likely to be released when it's ready, which is probably going to be very fast. It's going to happen very quickly. So, but yeah, we'll keep you updated on all of this. Okay, so you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. You do the thing where you push a notification in the game about the stream, or?
No, not at this. I don't want to annoy people, you know. Not push notifications. Yeah.
Just have the hardcore here. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to keep push notifications specifically for, you know, for game-related events, you know. So yeah. But we do advertise live streams on Discord, which we have a brand new one now, and social pages usually, and forums as well. So and there is this when we schedule it as well. If you go to our YouTube, you will see it scheduled in advance. You can join the waiting list, so to speak. So there we go. But if everyone's ready, we'll go to the very first question that comes from a user named King Dabu, and the question is about car corrections. So obviously this is a hot topic for, as we've said, that the next update, challenges update, will include some car corrections. There was a thread on the forum that popped up where people were asking whether we can publish car corrections in advance. And this question is exactly about it. So, following new updates, will you release a list of car corrections / nerfs before the update? In the past, you did this, but then stopped following American Frontier update. I think it's vital for players to see and know this. For first of all, we never did that really. So I'm not sure what it has to do with American Frontier update, so we didn't do that for European Revolution update. So what we do is we create a public list of all these corrections to share with you. Usually it happens on the same day as the update goes live, and what I'm going to say is that it's unlikely to change. At best, we will probably have a 1-day notice for you guys before we can publish the card corrections publicly. Especially rarity changes. I mean, card corrections is one thing, but rarity changes is the most important thing for all of you. So, I've mentioned this before, but there are no major card corrections or rarity changes in the next update, apart from a few. Nothing that goes from epic to legendary, that's for sure, and the other way around. So you don't have to worry about it for this update at least. But there are multiple reasons why we are unlikely to release rarity changes and card corrections ahead of time. You guys if you wanna add something to it, if you have any other ideas, please do chime in. But from at least my point of view, or at least from the point of view of Top Ref team, we don't want to create a sort of situation where we publish the rarity changes too early. And you will have some players that already have these cars that, for example, go from epic to legendary. And if we publish them like a week or so before, for example, before the update goes live, so players know a week before, what is going to happen is people will start upgrading them to get them to fully upgrade them before they turn to legendary, which is way cheaper than upgrading a legendary car. And this will create a situation where for players who do not have this car, it will create even a bigger divide between them and those who own this car. That's one of the reasons. Like a second reason from my point of view as well is that we have these updates, which we usually, as I said, push them out as soon as they're ready. So sometimes we actually don't have a notice at all. We just know, okay, well, we've submitted. As soon as Apple and Android approve, we push the button, you know, and this can happen over the weekend easily. So, for example, we submit on Friday, which usually I think we tend to avoid. But we can submit them on Friday and then for a Monday release. And up until Monday, we will still be sort of unknown to us whether Apple or Android will approve this build and we can actually release. So that's not a problem where updates actually usually happen as soon as we have passed the submission. So we sometimes, even if we wanted, don't have this sort of a gap. Referring back
that's the hardest part, right? Because it can be like literally an hour even or something, or just like boop, they've done it, it's ready to go. And sometimes it's like there's a week And maybe there's some back and forth where they come back and said, hey, you've done this thing. And we're like, no, we haven't. Look at it again. There was a thing that just happened in December just now. You might remember where you put that update quite late because there was a little bit of this back and forth with one of the stores. So that's why we can't know exactly when an update is ready, because there's this whole 1 to 7 days mystery factor that we don't control on the end. And I do think, by the way, going back to how early we give notifications of rarity changes, that might be what some people have in mind. There was one a long time ago where we gave this notice, and then one of these things happened with the stores, and we couldn't actually get the update out for like a week or something. So all of that mad, rarity changing, hoarding, and upgrading went on, and it was crazy. We're like, okay, wow, we better not really put that out until we're absolutely ready to press the button and it's definitely going live.
Yeah, so that's an important consideration. There are, I mean, I can appreciate the fact that these things are important for players, but at the moment I don't see how this is going to change. I mean, we already have all card corrections complete for the next challenges update. As I said, there aren't that many, but they're ready. So we have a list already, a public list, which we will share whenever the update actually releases. But for the upcoming update, I just want to make it clear that it is unlikely to change for the reasons that I and Tim have mentioned. But if we don't have anything to add to this, King Dabu, congratulations on your carbon fiber pack. What I'm going to do is I'm going to award you the pack. You don't have to do anything at all. You don't have to contact support. I have your Hutch ID. I will just award you your carbon fiber pack, and I will send you a message through KT Play, and you can enjoy your new cars. Do I have any questions from the chat? And by the way, hi everyone who's just joining in. We have quite a lot of people watching today, which is great. And for everyone who might have missed parts of the live stream, I'm gonna create this sort of timeline on YouTube where you will be able to scroll to choose between different sections of the video to choose the exact questions that you want to look at. So you will not have to watch the whole live stream. But if we do not have anything right now, let's go to the next question. Which comes, this is again mostly for me. I guess I'll be talking about this one mostly, but question comes from ID 589699487, and the question is about in-game forum and Discord server. So do you have plans for in-game forum now that there's a Discord server? And the second part of this, do you follow the Top Drive subreddit? Yes, we are in contact, I think, to a certain extent with owners. At least I've spoken to them on 1 or 2 occasions with the owner of the Top Drive subreddit. I wouldn't say that we have a very significant presence there because it's not managed by us. However, we do have people checking it regularly and reporting, especially if there are any sort of issues with the game or players might have. We tend to look at those.
Yeah, I'm a big lurker on that Reddit. I should probably get a proper official Hutch account so I could occasionally go, it's actually this, rather than show up as my random Reddit ID. You probably shouldn't be looking at. That would be good. My favourite thing about it, like you mentioned, is that sometimes if something happens and players can't get into the game, you're not going to see that in KT Play because they can't get in the game. Obviously, the Discord and the Reddit, you'll see that kind of stuff, so that's good.
Yeah. We do try to cover as many platforms as possible, so Reddit is just one of them. And I see that because I get on Discord, I get reports from it whenever someone posts, and there are a lot of posts in there. It's very active, actually. But the first part of the question was about in-game forum and the Discord server. So, are there any plans for the in-game forum, which is KT Play? So. Yes, we have launched Discord server last Friday. We have, I think, almost 1,500 members over there at the moment. I wouldn't say that it's super active, but it's active enough for us to be able to have a good control over it, which is the main point, main thing for me. There are plenty of other fan servers for Top Drives that people can use. But we have our team members in there who look at your feedback and try to communicate with you as well, so that's good. Whether anything will change for the KT Play forums, not at the moment. So at the moment, KT Play is definitely going to stay. I've not even considered doing anything with it yet. Obviously, this is having Discord and KT Play and forums and social media and Reddit and everything. It creates a problem where I have to be present on quite a few platforms at the same time. And if there's some kind of a piece of news we have, then it has to be posted on all platforms. So it does create extra work having all these free platforms. However, at the moment, I'm not planning to change that, and I think KT Play is extremely popular. We have a very good moderator team over there who are keeping everything under control, and so I wouldn't want to lose them either. And it's just a nice place for Top Drives fans to communicate, just because of how it works. It's literally a forum, which means you can keep posts in there. Unlike on Discord, if you post something, it just goes somewhere and you never find it again. So for that matter, it's quite useful. So I wouldn't say that at the moment anything will change. We'll still have to observe how Discord performs, whether we actually want to keep it at all. Maybe people don't go there at all to our Discord, so that would mean we would have to maybe cut it out. So we just have to wait and see. Ideally, I would want to have one platform for everything, but I appreciate that the community might be having a different opinion, might be living in different places, so that's fine. So yeah, that's ID 5896994887. There's
I was just going to go and get this car, and I'll be back in a minute to answer Guzan's questions. So bear with me a second. See you in a sec. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem, Will. Will is picking up car. As has been said, he is a car journalist, so he has an exciting car to review. What was it? Was it Tiguan R?
It's a Tiguan R.
Yeah, that sounds very cool. Yeah, I didn't know. Is that R? Is it is it actually a performance version, or is it just a trim? The R.
Yeah, no. It's the performance version. It's basically the Golf R, jacked up in a Tiguan body. So I think he was saying he drove the new Golf R a few weeks ago, and so he's keen to compare the two. So we can find out in the next.
The new Golf R looks cool. I've watched a couple of videos and it's ridiculously fast. It's like sub 4 seconds on car. Wow, what?
Yeah,
Are you joking?
Yeah, really rapid.
Yeah. We have a question in the audience from Oscar Tron, who actually posted this a couple of times. And by the way, nice to see you on this live stream once again, Oscar. Are there any plans for more real-world racetracks? Love the ring in the game. I actually don't have an answer to that, but I don't, because I wasn't even around when you guys introduced the Nürburgring, I think, to the game. I wonder.
Yeah, I don't think we can confirm anything. I know that I definitely wouldn't sort of. It's probably a kind of watch this space sort of answer. We love the fact that we've got real world track in the game. I feel like this is often my answer when it's just like we're interested, but if we do it, we want to kind of make sure we're doing it in a very compelling way. And I know I was actually chatting to a few of us were discussing this last week and actually just exploring ideas about that. If we do add another track, kind of how can we? Obviously, a track in itself is quite interesting and good fun, but what can we do? Some of the tracks are kind of longer than maybe some of our normal challenges at the moment. Basically, how can we make it as interesting as possible? And there were some really interesting ideas thrown around about almost kind of relay challenges, where it's like sort of divide the track into 3 and have 3 cars assigned to 3 sectors. There could be some. I think there could be some. Yeah. Interesting ideas around that.
I personally, I'm not a big fan of Nürburgring in the game, to be honest. I don't know. The map feels a bit strange to me. The way it has all these like empty areas cut out, I don't know. It feels a bit strange to me. I understand that. I think
Nürburgring was tricky just through the sheer scale of it. Made it quite a challenge. I do definitely sort of. We are keen to get some more tracks in. So
yeah, but nothing at the moment. I think we have introduced a brand new map in the American Frontier update, the airport, or what was it called? Airfield, I think. So that was the most recent one, and I think it's pretty cool. It's actually pretty awesome.
It's a licensing question again, right? We have to license a track, and so it's kind of like similar question to other car licenses, right? It's a negotiation thing. We'd like to get cool things. We can never confirm anything about it in advance. I would say the track version is the cool version of that question. You know, when Toyota, when Ferrari, that's kind of, you know, whatever, man. Are you going to get your licensed tracks? Yeah, that's the cool question. The answer is the same. We can't tell you, but yeah.
Actually, there were just to kind of group a few questions into one. There were questions around, when will we have this manufacturer, that manufacturer? Are we getting more Bugattis? And actually, I love the question is where are we going to get Venturi in the game? So Venturi was like in my teenage years. Venturi was just so cool. They were kind of fast Renaults at the time, and there was kind of Lotus Esprits and things like that. And then Venturi was just this very cool kind of sort of small scale French manufacturer with just some amazing looking cars. So I can't answer the question. I don't know. I know there was a discussion with Venturi, but I don't know where we are with it at the moment. But no, we are not. We are absolutely not done yet with new cars, whether it's new manufacturers or bolstering existing manufacturers. That pipeline is very much is I think at a scale that we've never seen it before in top drives. So there's no shortage of new cars coming.
That's very good to hear. We have a question, why is there an empty seat? It's because we have Will, who's you've seen him in the recent Polo R episode, which is like record breaking. I don't know if actually, why does it have so many views? Is it because there's Will in it? I guess so. I can't explain it any other way. So there's Will, by the way, and he will be here to answer one of our questions, which is which is quite an interesting question, actually. But yeah, guys, for those who just joined, keep putting these questions in the comments so we can have a look at them as well. What do you feel, guys? Are we ready to go to the third question? Anything interesting in the comments?
Yeah, I'm happy to jump onto that third question. I think I can shed some light on it.
So was it from Rifki? Is that the one you mean, Johnny? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the one. Yeah. So yeah, and yes, ID58. I'll reach out to you on KT Play personally and award you with a carbon fiber pack. Congratulations on your win. So next question comes from Rifki Farana. I do apologize if I misspell this, but the question is as such: what makes you tag some cars as prize cars? It's a pretty simple question. And there's a second part to it, really. What makes you tag some cars as a prize car despite it not being as great as Tri-Series S-Class cars? So as you know, we have a couple of cars like in the Epic or Ultra Rare category that are still prize cars. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so I like questions like this because it's almost that it also kind of gives a little bit of kind of Top Drive's history. I think we've probably covered this before, but in the very, very first version of Top Drives, it didn't go live. This was when we were playing it in the studio. Prize cars were actually a thing that you won if you collected every other car from a certain manufacturer. And that was basically, so every single manufacturer needed a prize car to be assigned for it. And it's one of those, firstly, we decided not to go down that route because obviously if you have sort of 200 BMWs or something, it's quite a big task to collect them all just for one new car. It also kind of put us in a slightly strange position with some kind of random prize awarding legislation around the world that we have to take into account. But it's one of those little bits of code that lives on in the game to this day, that basically every manufacturer that we put into the game needs at least one prize car. So if we add I know Austin we handled that slightly differently, but even if we look at kind of smart cars or anything like that, we have to pick one to be a price car, and we've just never changed that. In terms of kind of expanding just slightly, there's a couple of other factors that come into when we assign them. One is, I think if we took sort of Bentley maybe as an example, there's obviously sort of the very, very fastest Bentleys are prize cars. And then there's maybe one that's kind of like, well, there's a few others that are very quick. And then there's one that maybe seems kind of less fast that's also a prize car. One of our approaches is to look for kind of interesting combinations of stats or kind of attributes, really. So even though it maybe not the absolutely fastest Bentley, the fact that it was 4-wheel drive and 4 seats and convertible, and with that level of performance, actually puts it in a truly unique set of cars. So sometimes the prize cars will be they won't be the absolute fastest thing, but when you start to look at the combination of parameters or sort of attributes that they've got, you'll realize that they're at the very top of the tree in some respects. And then the last reason why occasionally we'll have slightly strange situation with prize cars is that we've been doing these top-ups of manufacturers. So we might have sort of 100 BMWs and then we add 100 more. Obviously we're assigning prize cars based on the first set of BMWs, and then when we add the second set, it often will be there'll be models that are bringing an even higher level of performance than we had in the first place. So you end up with this slightly kind of staggered sense of what used to be the fastest BMWs being prize cars, and they remain. And then we've got this new batch with a new round of prize cars. So sort of long-winded answer, but hopefully that some insight into why it's not always just the fastest 2 or 3 cars that become prize cars.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. And then you also have like these lower RQ prize cars. I think they're sometimes awarded for events that are not Tri-Series. You would have like a collection series, which is a bit unique from Tri-Series. So obviously prize might be different, and maybe even for a challenge. So yeah, I think they have their own niche in the game, and it's sort of a kind of a bit even proud owning 1 or 2 of these like lower Q prize cars that are still like really, really interesting. By the way, guys, let us know what you think about our brand new prize car for this week, which is the Jaguar XJR9. Everyone guessed it correctly. Yes, because I have posted the little sneak peek of a picture of a vent of this car to social media to see if anyone can guess which car it is, and everyone immediately guessed it. So I don't know, like maybe I just need like a white circle and without anything, and people will still guess it. So I don't know. But it looks good. We are already working on the next showcase episode for it. So keep your eyes peeled. Next week you will see it. And yeah, as you guys know, we have this. We used to we have normal prize cars, and then we have reruns occasionally. In the past 3 Tri-Series, we have these original prize cars each time, and we have to do it this time because otherwise, if we had an owner's challenge next weekend, then we would have had a clash with the monthly challenge KTM playoffs, basically. I don't know. So I'm sure Tim knows a bit more about KTM and how good it is. But yeah, basically we will have a original prize car, not the rerun as you might have expected. Okay, so this was from Rifki. Yes, Rifki, great job. As I said, I will reach out to you on KT Play and award you your carbon fiber pack. Anything from the audience? I think there are a couple of questions about when is the next big update coming. Nothing we can say on this live stream, unfortunately. Just keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes on our social channels and forums and everything. But when the time comes, we will obviously let you know.
Well, I also see the light, but seriously though, why not Jaguar Ferrari? Can you give us more detail? Have you even spoken to them? Well, what I'll just say, when it comes to licensing, commenting publicly on that license before you have it can affect if you can get it or the terms of it. Right? There's horrible legal feedback loops, and people at Hutch who would say, "What did you just say to?" So we really can't comment on these things, unfortunately. It's in our best interests to not say things.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I hope, I'd like to think it goes without saying, but obviously our desire, hopefully Top Drives this comes across like a product that wants to be everything in the world of cars. So just to almost reiterate, the desire is there to accommodate everybody's car preferences in every form. It's work in progress.
And I like the idea of, one day, if there was some manufacturer out there who was really reluctant, to be able to go to them and say, "Look, literally everyone in the world is on here except you. What do you think about that?" Actually, the list gets very long and obscure, but we live in hope.
We have a question from Top Throttle, which who asked it many times. So the question is, any info on whether there will be a new single-player campaign with the new update? No, I don't think we will have. It depends on what you mean by new update. There can be a very small update which is still new, but it's not never gonna have any sort of additions to campaigns. But we do not have anything to share on the new campaigns at the moment, whether that for the next small or big updates coming in the foreseeable future. We don't really have anything to share on new campaigns at the moment, unfortunately. Next question will be from Rick. And I think Will, you wanted to contribute on this one a little bit, but the question is quite long actually, so I'm not going to read out the whole question. But as I said, the question comes from a user named Rick on KT Play, and it's about handling. So could you shed some light about how handling stats are decided? Rick can't. He says he can't figure out how certain seemingly high handling cars like Atom Prize car have less handling than supercars like the Senna, 720S, GTR3, BMW M8 GTE. I'll give it to you guys because I have no idea how handling is decided in Top Drives, apart from looking at real stats.
Well, do you want to, Johnny? Do you want to take over what exactly the kind of where it actually comes from in the sort of like the technical parts of it, and then I'll kind of comment particularly on perhaps how they're decided, if you sort of see what I mean.
Yes. I think. Well, I can just give almost just a bit of a background that they, and again, so, I think this is something that's been sort of, brought up before and discussed before. But we obviously sort of got partnership with the team at Evo, and it's their road test team that provide. They have access to a lot of kind of huge car stat databases and photo archives, and also the handling stat is one of the more unique ones in the game, in that it's not a stat that exists in any form. It is bespoke to Top Drives, but the team there provide that score and kind of cross-reference it as much as possible when there's a new batch of cars that need to go in, kind of cross-reference it. It has been an area, it feels like an area that we maybe will never be sort of completely done. It feels like a slightly kind of live project of kind of just getting it feeling as accurate as possible. When a new car goes in, it's just like, right, well, how should that car stack up against these 6 other reference cars? But that's basically where it comes from. We rely on the world-class expertise of the road test team at Evo.
As I say, that's kind of, having worked at Evo as well, sort of you build up this knowledge of kind of in your mind of exactly how sort of cars drive, and trying to separate very much between sort of performance and handling between them. It's kind of is part of your day job a little bit, and that's what you do sort of within a review. So we, as journalists, they know, because I know firsthand, having been one with that team for a bit, is they know exactly they can separate those two things quite easily. The really interesting part of the question is that you've asked about the sort of aerial atom and how it compares to the Senna 720S BMW M8 GTE. And I think if I couldn't come up with a better car to sort of exhibit why maybe handling as an attribute is so separate from other aspects of it, because of course Aerial Atom is an extremely fast car, and by many measures it's a really great handling car, but it's also really light, and in some respects that's why it is so fast, and that's why it's perhaps not as kind of clearly, its attributes as being a bit weird to drive don't come through quite so easy. So it actually ends up with this, I think, I didn't give the handling figure for this car, but I understand exactly why someone would have perhaps given it a lower handling figure than the Senna or a 720S, because an Atom is light and fast, but it has this very strange rearward engine thing, very much like a 911, possibly even more exaggerated than a 911, because I think the weight distribution of an Atom, because there's almost nothing at the front anyway, no bodywork, no windscreen, no nothing at the front. It's something like 34 at the front, 65 at the rear or something, so it's really quite rear heavy. Wow. And because the engine isn't flat like a 911's engine, it's all high up and tall. It's like wearing a really heavy backpack that you've loaded right at the back, and you're really sort of, and they're relatively softly sprung as well, so you get this kind of weird sort of pendulum effect that's kind of high up, and it's very, very strange. But of course it's really, really fast and goes really well because it's really, really light. So in some respects, its handling figure ends up being quite low compared to what you would necessarily expect it to be, because it's not a very easy car to drive fast, and it's not a very not a very rewarding. It's actually a very exciting car, but it's not a car that you'd sort of, I don't think that many people would pin down as being sort of like the definitive best driving car sort of thing. You go, actually, there's lots of stuff about this could be improved. It gets away with so many things for being quite light, and my God, it's exciting and really is a very good car to drive. But I suppose compared to a Senna or a 720S, they have better attributes. They are more forgiving, but at the same time, their limits potentially are higher, even though they don't have the kind of stripped back bodywork, but they are obviously heavier. So I think you've just by chance possibly chosen the most exceptional, the exact right car to use as an example. So the Atom was a really good one for that. And I suppose kind of wanted to chime in on that, which I think it gives a really good idea about how different cars can seem in the game based on if you're trying to boil them down to a number that is separate from performance, you really have to sort of go into that kind of like that minutiae of what they might be like if they weren't so powerful, if they weren't quite so light, or those sort of things, and try and pinpoint that figure onto it. And I think that's why perhaps like Johnny says, it's an evolving thing, because it's not a number that you can define when you drive a car. You need to be up against other cars to have that figure, to sort of ground that figure in some sort of reality. However, you've got to sort of understand sort of a big sort of encyclopedia of sort of what cars are like to drive, which the guy at the team at Evo, and I suppose me as well, and other people that possibly contribute to the game, can kind of you look into and go, oh, okay, when we're doing car correction, and go, oh, actually, that figure perhaps shouldn't be as high as that or whatever. And I think, so where does it come from? Knowledge and some sort of very strange separating of performance and handling in your mind. That's where it comes from, I suppose.
Yeah. It's probably worth just chucking in as well that we sort of never found a great way of kind of telegraphing this out, but obviously the light, we talk sometimes when we do price car showcases, we talk about this sort of agility boost that kind of sits behind the scene. The best thing you can look at is just the weight of the car, and so even if in the kind of Atom's case, if the handling is a little bit down on some of those other cars that are mentioned, in something like the kind of slalom or the kind of G-force test, where there's kind of extreme direction changes, then we do make sure that the kind of that lightness is kind of surfaced in a slightly different way, and you get the performance gains from it. So it's it's a complex relationship, but I think it's on the whole it gives some pretty good results. I was going to say actually, sorry, just as part of that question, it's it sort of makes a comment that's kind of they're happy to help make the stats better, but they don't want to just sort of send over useless data. I mean, there is a very active car correction part of the forum. Dimitri, maybe you could sort of guide people towards it better. But we are very open. There's obviously a team of players that coordinate that side of things very, very well. And we're very open to getting, if people think stats are off, and always kind of encourage people to get in touch.
Yeah, thank you very much both for the input. I think it's very interesting what you said there, Will, because I never actually even thought about how. Now it makes I'm thinking, how would you rate from 1 to 100 so many different cars that have completely different stats to them in real life? How do you rate them from 1 to 100 in the game? So that's very interesting. So so we have, so I think this was Rick. Yeah, so Rick will get a carbon fiber pack as usual. We've still got one main question from this section, then we'll have some time for any ad hoc questions that we wanted to bring up. I have a few that are from a little bit different area as well. So let's go into the final question right now, because we're a bit short on time. But you guys if you guys streaming with me today, if you see any interesting questions, don't feel free to interrupt me if you see something in the chat. But I think we have one person from our KDP forums who have been trying to get into the Q&A for quite some time. So his name is Henry, and I've seen many questions submitted by this player. And the question is as such: I am determined question asker, so I'll try again. We all like this game and community, so it would be great to know what we are all part of. How many players with accounts, how many active at least once a week on the forums, how many of us playing at least one event a week, even by server, nation or continent would be interesting too. Cheers. So I have bad news for you, Henry, today. Unfortunately, I will not be able to reveal any of these numbers to you or to anyone else for that matter. But your question has been answered. If that makes any difference, I can only say about forums that on KTPlay we get maybe on average, I would say maybe 5,000 to 10,000 people being active on KTPlay every week. Regarding the game, there is nothing we can tell you. This is very sort of sensitive information, and no games really share that information. Or if they do, they're very, very limited in terms of what they can share. So unfortunately, we cannot give you any numbers whatsoever, and we are unlikely to ever give you any numbers. But you are welcome to send any other questions that you might have. Sounds good.
Can we say that it's a hugely important part, piece of the puzzle, not piece of the puzzle, but piece of the game for us, as in it's massively valued. Occasionally we sort of interact with external organizations and things like that, and I know sort of it was a few months ago now, but some people who have a good perspective on these things kind of really quite taken aback by the this level of engagement of the Top Drives community, and also a lot. I know it maybe not 100%, but the general positivity was something that was commented on as really quite special with the mobile gaming space. So yeah, no figures, but it's a very, very good thing.
Yeah. But there are questions like that we just cannot answer. So and you wouldn't find a game dev that would be able to answer how many players play this game. I mean, the only sort of example I can recall is probably World of Warcraft. Would they sometimes share the subscribers numbers, but with a significant delay? That's the only thing they would share, but nothing that we can talk about. Very secretive, don't you guys think? Yes, we are. Very secretive. So this wraps up the 5 main questions that we have. And Henry, by the way, I will contact you and award you a carbon fiber pack. So we still have time for some questions from that were not chosen as part of these 5. I wanted to give a quick update on the server issues that we've had a couple of days ago, because we have determined what were the reasons. Although I'm not going to go into detail about that at all, because there's a lot of background stuff and development that is going on there. But the issues that we had on Monday, I think, or sorry, was it? No, yes, on Monday, that was not depending on us, and so yeah, that was an issue with one of our partners, service providers. Unfortunately, there was nothing we could do about it. And when it comes to last Sunday, when we had an issue during the finals, I think the server team have determined what was the problem, and from what I understand, there was even a small hotfix that went out like yesterday to address this. So yeah, we should hopefully not have any of these problems, but if we do, you guys let us know. I think I don't know, maybe Tim, you can recall how many sort of server issues we've been having last year, because I joined May last year, so I can't really say anything about time before that, but I remember server issues were brought up pretty much every week on every platform, and I think it's
there've been a couple of periods of time in Top Drive's 3 and a bit years where there were regular server issues, and we did things to sort them out. And the last round of that was last year. Things were getting pretty bad, and then we introduced all this stuff about brackets overfilling and how we manage those and all that kind of stuff. And it is really significantly better than it was. So playing the final this Sunday, and for me it was just in the last minute it slowed down. It was like, oh, I haven't seen this in a while. Wow, it was a surprise. So we're way more on top of it now. So that was hopefully just an anomaly.
Yeah, but I just wanted to make clear, we really appreciate the fact that there were problems. We're not like running away from them. We had a server team look into it and determine what were reasons for those, and they worked on resolution as well. So we're not just completely ignoring it. So it's all being noticed. People are telling me to stop using my sister's headphones. I don't have a sister. Yeah, the only thing is missing are like cat ears that they sell as well nowadays. Yeah,
that's right. You need to stick those on. I was just saw one question in there that I can answer. How long is the Airfield runway? Now, players could actually figure this out. I think you can get your times on different cars, and you can look at the time on there. And so I don't think it's a secret. I just ran it in the resolver. It's a 1,000.4 meters. Interestingly, so there you go. There's that. And also somebody else asking about the game being available in Lebanon. I just checked on Apple and Google. That's not a country that they support distribution to. So I don't know if you can usually get games there, but that's not in our control, I'm afraid. There you go.
Yeah. I spotted a couple of things quickly. One was just why does Lamborghini? Why do Lamborghinis have their torque figure shown? That is just one of those licensing quirks that they would rather we didn't display torque figures. So we had to come up with a solution for that. I think Rick asked the question about handling. Is just added a next thing about expanding on, say, for example, why I need to check into it, so this isn't a great answer, but why the super light beats the Atom 500 in the slalom. I suspect that's down to weight, but I would need to check. So even that slight, Will, you might know, super light R500 would be a fraction lighter than an Atom.
I think it would. Yeah, and I think I probably would maybe also expect it to win in that. Again, going back to that sort of, I mean, just from a basis of having driven both, I think that whole idea of the engine position in an Atom being that high up, a slalom is sort of, again, it would be thrilling, but sort of terrifying in an Atom, whereas in a Caterham of some sort, it would be, you'd be maybe sort of a bit more in control, as much as you are ever in control in a Caterham, maybe. But yeah, I think I'd be, if it were me doing setting times back to back, I suspect that if I was to get out of them, I'd go, and the Caterham be quicker. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I feel like that's a slalom we should just set up in the real life and just check that is the case, really.
Yep, I think that sounds like a scientific thing we need to do. Yeah.
Because the Superlight is such an incredible slalom specialist in top drives. Like frequently, when I'm benchmarking prize cars, I'm like, yeah, this one's going to beat the Superlight now. No. Wow. Okay. Yeah. It's just absolutely perfect for that specific challenge.
I think it's almost as if they designed it on the basis that was how it was going to be. That car was that's going to slalom master. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was going to say, anybody that knows me well might have thought I might have kind of sneaked in a few kind of bonus points for Caterhams across the board in the game, but I can promise that I definitely didn't. So.
No, I mean, they're one of those cars where we absolutely, no matter when you test them, because you think, it's an ancient design with, from the sort of throwback from the 50s. They can't be fast anymore. They'll just be trounced by all sorts of things. And you put some test equipment on them and do a lap time with them, and again, they come out phenomenally fast. They're exceptionally bonkers cars and just brilliant. It just goes to show sort of how sort of inherently right and how lightness is just perfect for that sort of stuff.
We've got a couple of questions about sort of recurring themes that I see both during live streams and on the forums. So people are asking about test tracks. But there is unfortunately nothing in the works on this right now, and I've not heard any plans either. We have William Webb, who keeps asking about adding or changing mystery daily rewards like random super rare or different cash prizes. No, I don't think this is at all in the works at the moment, so no, I've not heard about any changes to that, and if this is unlikely to change anytime soon. As you guys know, we've definitely focused on the challenges update and flexible criteria right now, and then the new UI and user interface. This is all being worked on at the moment, so we have our priorities at the moment, but we will share more info in the coming days. But on those specifically two questions, nothing to share right now. Okay, so I think we've gone through most of these. So I have two more very, very generic questions. One is, when choosing the questions for the Q&A shows, do you find it frustrating when half of them are something like, why don't you add Ferrari or Toyota? Yes. I wouldn't say it's frustrating. I just wish sometimes people just like remember why we're not adding them, and yeah, I guess it would be nice if they stop asking. But sometimes people actually don't know. They maybe watch our live stream for the first time, so I can't just say you guys or start banning everyone who asks where is Toyota coming. It would be unreasonable. So yes, for me the most frustrating part about Q&As is that there are so many questions that I know you guys want answers for, but I have nothing to share with you, and none of us can talk about these things. Starting from trophies to clubs, you guys ask these questions all the time, and we are aware of them, but there's just not much we can say at the moment, unfortunately. We focus on the things that we're focusing right now that are in our priority list. But sometimes if our Q&A live streams were about answering the top 10 most liked questions per every thread that they're designed for, we would literally have all the same questions in every live stream Q&A. They would be exactly the same each time, unfortunately. So
we could do that episode and then just link to it every time.
Yeah.
If you want the top 10 most asked this week, look to this episode from a year ago, and here's the other questions.
So I think it's important to come back to them once in a while. So every 3 to maybe 4 months, depending on if we have any sort of update, or sometimes even just to come saying that we don't have an update. But yes, it's quite frustrating for us as well. There are things that you guys really want us to know, but we don't have an answer simply at the moment. So
nobody will be happier than us when we actually have an answer to the Toyota and Ferrari questions. So.
It's true. Yeah. Yes, and Tesla. Last question. I'll just leave this for us to all to relax. We'll have more Q&As and live streams for you guys to submit all other questions. But this question is, what are your guys' first real life cars? And this came from Going Slow. So I'll talk quickly about myself. So my first car was 2003 Peugeot 307. It was the most terrible car in the world. That's all I'm gonna say. So next. Let's go with you, Will. What was your first car?
The first car I actually bought, I bought a 1968 1500 Volkswagen Beetle, but I was 13, and I never actually got it on the road, and never did anything with it. I sort of just bought it and did a few bits of work on it, and when I got to 17, realised that I no longer particularly liked it very much and sold it. And then I bought I think I borrowed some cars, and then I bought a BMW 1602, a 1975 car. So classic cars generally what I've ended up spending my money on. So it's been good, but yeah.
That's pretty cool. Do you remember yours, John?
I was trying to think. It sort of depends on the definition of it. It's sort of because I probably used used a family. I had a sister a few years older than me, and we sort of had a family. Actually, had a Vitara, like Suzuki Vitara, which was rear-wheel drive. And actually, living up in Scotland, it's like finding a kind of snowy car park in a rear-wheel drive Vitara was a surprising to find. But the slightly crazy thing is that actually the first car that was just mine was a Caterham. I just obsessed them for so long, and the timing aligned and everything, and it was deeply impractical. Ran it for about 3 years, and then had to get rid of it. But
by the way, guys, in the comments you should let us know what were your first cars as well, because we shouldn't just be us sharing them. And finally we got Tim, if you want.
Yeah, I never owned a car, but the first one I drove was a MG Metro, some kind from the 80s. I don't know which kind, but always appreciate driving. A what? Not that one. No. In Top Drives, I get the memories from driving the 1982 MG Metro Turbo. Such a great little city specialist. That takes me back. It's quite fun to drive, really. So that was pretty good. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. We have Passat 2001. We have Mazda RX-8 as the first car. Wow, interesting. Yeah. No? Quite interesting choices here. So Audi A1. Saxo VTS. What is that? Is that a car? Is that a brand?
They were very sort of kind of early 2000s hot hatch. They were very much the kind of the backbone of the sort of max power community. The VTS was, but even standard, they were really very good cars. Yeah, I love them.
2007 Ford Fiesta ST. Yes, I like that one. It's very small. Such a nice. I like how it looks. It's really cool. Okay, so it's exactly 1 hour from now, so from the start. So thank you very much, guys, for joining today. All three of you, and you will, our players will be able to see all of you in the upcoming episodes of the Top Drive show. Which next one should be the showcase of the insane car Jaguar XJR9, and I think Tim even shared some stats for it today within the team, and we were all quite impressed. So looking forward to that one. Yeah, but thank you very much, guys, and thank you, Will, for coming in today as well. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I think people enjoyed your input a lot. So yeah, I'll see you in the next live stream video, whichever it's going to be, guys, and thank you.
Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks, Dimitri.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks very much. Bye.
See you guys. Could just start disconnecting.
Yeah.
I have to give players a little bit of an update. Discord, guys, this is still all ongoing. I'm not sure if you guys have the link. Let me pull this up and put it in the chat. Yeah, actually, I wouldn't be able to do that from this device, but you should go to one of our social channels, like Twitter and Facebook. Twitter would be the easiest. You will find the link to Discord in one of the posts from yesterday, so come and join us. And then I will give you a bit of more updates in terms of when is the next update dropping in the coming days. But yeah, the challenges one, it looks pretty sick actually. It's a big one, bigger than the RQ change back in like May last year. Anyway, I'll see you next week, guys. No Friday live stream tomorrow because I have nothing to talk about. Everything happened today already. But otherwise, I will see you very soon. and bye bye, and have a great weekend. See you guys.